In this video,
Yes, I almost killed myself in several times. I've never heard this song before.
if you've grown up in Europe, chances are you have some relationship with Volkswagen. Either because your family had one when growing up, maybe your friend's family had one, and maybe you remember going to football practice as a kid in a Volkswagen. Maybe it was your very first car. For me, none of that is true, but still, Volkswagens are near and dear, and in this video, I want to tell my Volkswagen story, but also find out if the new Volkswagen ID.7 is a return to form for the automaker from Wolfsburg. When growing up, we never had a Volkswagen, which is kind of weird when thinking about it. The Volkswagen Golf was the #1 best-selling car for most of the time between 1974 and 2020 here in Norway. And before that, the Volkswagen Beetle was the best-selling car, literally making Volkswagen the people's car. And for you who aren't fluent in German, that's exactly what Volkswagen translates to, the people's car. In Norway, we actually call them Folkevogn, which means the people's car. So everybody had one, the people's car that is, except us.
My first car was a Toyota Camry. Pretty much what this car represents today in the Volkswagen lineup, and probably what a Toyota would look like if they made an electric car. Oh, they do make that B4Z thing, and if they made an electric sedan, it would probably be pretty close to what this car is. And they'd probably call it something like the Cam Z4 ZGTE, something, very intuitive and catchy, like that other electric car that people forget about. So in spirit, my first car kind of was a Volkswagen if Toyota made an electric car in 2024. That's a saloon, if that makes any sense, because the Camry today, which isn't sold in Europe, is large, like this ID.7. I mean, this is almost 5 meters long. The Camry is roomy on the inside. It's like a full-size sedan, and this pretty much is that. This is huge inside. I mean, the rear seats are huge, the front cabin is huge. So pretty much in spirit, I feel like my first car kind of was a Volkswagen, but built in Japan and called a Toyota. Well, except for the interior, because the interior in that Camry, which I had 2 of them, this is actually pretty decent, especially when you compare to the late stuff of Volkswagen from the ID series, like the ID.3 and the ID.4. This is pretty much up to Volkswagen level, which it kind of should be, but yeah, the interior, roomy, spacious, well built, yeah, thumbs up. But my first car was actually a Volkswagen, and a car I almost killed myself in several times. Like the one time I spun out in a roundabout and almost got hit by a semi. The other time going onto a motorway on-ramp, spinning out and just like doing a 360, almost crashing into oncoming traffic, and countless of other times I've probably suppressed. I don't remember anymore. And yeah, the summer of '03, the fall of '03, me and my friends packed the car, just driving around, listening to loud music, 50 Cent, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg. The music of the early 2000s was such a fond time, and I'm kind of lucky, like, still being here, that I didn't kill myself, because that car was dangerous. That Volkswagen, which was my first car, was really dangerous. So my first car, and I say it with air quotes, is because I didn't actually own that car. It was actually my friend's dad's car, who he had given to my friend, his son. but he was a year younger than me. So he was 17, I was 18, and the car was just sitting there. So we just started using it. We built like a stereo, like in the back in the parcel shelf, like two 16 by 9 inch speakers and a subwoofer in the middle. It was awesome. So this Volkswagen was actually a Volkswagen Beetle. It was like a 1973 model or 72, 1303S, and that thing was dangerous. Rear wheel drive, no safety systems at all. I remember it didn't even have power brakes. So like I took my license, driver's license, in like the spring of 03, and the car I was driving was a Citroen C3, like a brand new Citroen. Awesome car with hydraulic suspension, power, everything. And then like the first intersection in that Volkswagen Beetle, I almost crashed because, you know, driving up to the intersection, hopping on the brakes and stepping on the brakes and no power brakes, I almost like went into the road. But yeah, and that's probably why Volkswagen makes cars today that are kind of boring, kind of numb to drive, but safe. And this is safe. I mean, it's comfortable, it's quiet, but it's not exciting or dangerous like that Beetle, which was rear wheel drive. But this is now rear wheel drive, so maybe we'll see like a hot version. Maybe we'll see a Volkswagen where you can actually turn off traction control and ESP. I doubt it, because people would die, right? Like in those first Volkswagens. But yeah, this is a nice car to drive. I really like it. 286 horsepower, 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 6.5 seconds. Rear wheel drive is a far cry from that 1.6 liter Volkswagen 1303S with like 40 horsepower. Yeah, I prefer this. But if I was 18, I probably would have preferred driving that Beetle over this. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much, Volkswagen software and UI engineers. Congratulations. You have officially gone from making the worst infotainment system in the electric car business to one of the very best that currently exists now in 2024, and I'll show you guys why. The first iteration of the new Volkswagen touchscreen only interface was first seen in the Volkswagen ID.3 back in 2020, and to be honest, it was not very good. Not good at all. I've been so critical, and I've criticized the infotainment system in Volkswagen ID cars ever since that date. They were just not intuitive to use, and they were laggy, and they were slow. But this infotainment system, the newest version in the ID.7, is completely new. So new software, new hardware, it's new from the ground up. And I have to applaud the Volkswagen software engineers and also UI engineers, because this may just be, and I know it is a bold claim, but this may be the best infotainment system, the easiest to use in any car now in 2024. So first off, the screen is 15 inches across. It is actually quite big, maybe too big, but I've gotten used to it. So on the bottom here, we have these touch capacitive buttons as we had before, but now they are backlit, which they should have been from day one. And then on the lower part of the screen, we have climate control shortcuts that are always there. You always have the climate button to go into the climate menu there. You always have the home button there. You always have the temperature on the left side, and then you have the temperature on the right side. Now it's in eco mode because there's no passenger in the car. And then you have the cool seats. You have the heated seats, and everything is just so easy to use and responsive. I mean, there's not been any lag issues at all. It's just buttery smooth, and yeah, I mean, it is great. That's a little bit annoying. Ida, yeah, Ida. I thought I turned Ida off. Well, okay, let's just leave Ida for now. And then top left, you have, you know, your apps. Everything is easy to use, but the biggest thing, the main reason why I'm such in love with this infotainment system, and I hope the new Audis, like the new Q6 e-tron, which I'm going to look at in Germany in March. I'm flying down to Munich. I hope this gets a just more maybe polished, more Audi version of that infotainment system, because it is so good and easy to use. Because up top here, you have shortcuts. So this is like your just normal vehicle stuff that you want to have quick access to, like dipping your rear view mirror, your right mirror. When backing up, you can turn that on off easily there. And then you have assistant here. And this is the big one because mandatory from 2024 in all cars sold in the EU and the European Economic Zone is lane keep assist and speed warning, speed limit warning. And in a lot of cars, you have to go into a menu and then into a sub menu, and then you have to click it on and off. And then it's like, are you sure you want to turn it off? And then like one setting is in this menu, another setting is in that menu. And that's just annoying every time you get in and out of a car. Here though, every time you get in, it is up here. So if I go to my home menu and then it's always there. So bang, bang, it's off. Look at how easy was that? Bang, bang on, bang, bang off. It is so easy to use. I mean, that is great. The other thing, Apple CarPlay implemented here. So you have all of these quick shortcuts and look how responsive and quick it is. I mean, I haven't seen an infotainment this snappy since like Polestar or Tesla. It is so good and is better in the layout than those infotainment systems. And then you have a short, so here you can customize, you can press that and then you can just basically have whatever you want. And I'm not sure if there are any limits. Let's see if we could do navigation. We're done. Okay, so there's actually a limit, so, but okay. I actually don't need an icon there, so I'm just going to, can I delete that? Yeah, delete it. It's so easy and intuitive to use. Like when I hopped into this car a few days ago, I'm like, oh, that means I can add like a shortcut up here. So I've added Apple CarPlay. No, Apple CarPlay is always there, but I've added the charging menu, and this is the greatest charging menu ever. Because this is all normal stuff, but you have something called battery optimizing. And this I first saw in the Skoda Enyaq, the updated version, when I was in Austria before Christmas. And this is so great because this car now has, you know, preconditioning of the battery en route when the car chooses a charging station via the built-in navigation system. I'm still not a huge of the built-in navigation system in this car. I usually just use, you know, Apple CarPlay and Maps and Google Maps. There we go. It's just me not hitting the right button. But here, you have manual preconditioning. It takes 57 minutes to get that peak optimal charging speed, and we can get 75 kilowatts at 60% is what the car is saying. But I've experienced this on a few occasions, and like when I did my long trip test, the car said we're gonna get 164 kilowatts. We got like 185. But the fact that I can do it manually and it tells me the current charging speed if I connect to a charger now and how long time it takes to get to that optimal charging speed, it's great. All EVs should do this. So all the improvements here, it's just so easy to use. All the things that I find annoying with other electric cars, like the assistance systems, you know, the fiddly battery preconditioning that you have to do, you know, via like navigation. Everything is fixed there, and also quick, big shortcut buttons to your climate. That is always there. These are backlit and illuminated. I mean, it is awesome. Lastly, you have, you know, the touch capacitive buttons here, and the software is so much better than when this car first came out that it hasn't been an issue at all. Not been an issue at all. These just work flawless. And then here on the bottom, they have done, you know, a few upgrades to this versus the first version, where you have always down here, you have the volume, and then you have your skip forward and backward. And then you have a dedicated button for heated steering wheel on this steering wheel. I mean, this is just the greatest infotainment system ever. This is so easy and simple to use. So it's not able to stream without skipping, but it downloads the whole song in like a second. That's just weird. That is weird. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. No. It can't play, but it can download in like a second. I want some vocals. Okay, let's try downloading this one. Maybe this is a good song to test out the Harman Kardon sound system in the ID.7, which is actually pretty decent. Not the best, not the worst, but it is actually decent. So is this downloaded? Indiana Bradley. I hope this is good. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't know the lyrics. I've never heard this song before. Yeah, so the sound system in this car actually is pretty decent. Yes, I actually think this is a return to form for Volkswagen. It's not perfect. It still has a lot of the quirks and weirdnesses that we first saw with the ID.3, which was a completely new design. And you know, some of those quirks and weirdnesses is fundamental to this platform and probably won't disappear completely before we have a brand new platform in a few years. But I am so impressed what the Volkswagen engineers have been able to do with what they're working with. I mean, from the ID.3, this is a complete turnaround. Simply put, this car now is well built and easy to use. And in 2024, that is actually high praise.